as a magnificent, deep azure, a highly faceted, astronomical gemstone that feels incredibly pure. I stare upwards at the glittering, corundum-colored expanse, falling deeply into a highly sophisticated nocturnal trance.
The constellations resemble an intricate design diamond necklace, making all of our earthly trivial problems seem entirely reckless.
The atmosphere is painted in a profoundly rich cobalt dye, a brilliantly cut precious mineral dominating the entire sky.
I button my tailored midnight blue tuxedo jacket, leaving behind the chaotic noise and metropolitan racket.
The ocean reflects the exact same lapis lazuli tone as I stand upon the highly polished marble balcony alone.
The astronomical jewelry provides a highly expensive illumination, the most gorgeous speak
visual presentation,
a wealthy, deeply saturated oceanic type of hue,
engulfing the entire perimeter in a majestic royal blue. The precious mineral shines with immense clarity, a nocturnal display of ultimate rarity,
polished to a highly reflective,
gorgeous sheen, the most valuable evening we have ever seen. Basking in the glory of these sapphire nights, illuminated by the distant celestial lights.
a deeply colored,
Incredibly expensive gemstone, a majestic, beautifully saturated blue zone. The astronomical wealth is prominently displayed, a magnificent, brilliant cut twilight parade, staring into the deep oceanic faceted core, leaving us absolutely desperate for more.
The optical properties of the atmosphere are flawlessly aligned,
The greatest, most valuable treasure that humanity could ever find.
I adjust my silver cufflinks and admire the stellar view,
Surrounded completely by this incredibly wealthy royal blue.
the geological perfection of the heavens is
Undeniable, a highly consistent, astronomically reliable
display of unimaginable
cosmic luxury, a magnificent, deeply saturated nocturnal sanctuary. The moonlight catches the facets of the atmospheric jewel, a highly sophisticated, undeniably beautiful astronomical rule. My velvet evening gown matches the sky perfectly, a completely intentional, highly fashionable aesthetic decree.
We observe the glittering panorama
From the penthouse suite, an incredibly exclusive, phenomenally beautiful retreat,
the ultimate pinnacle of atmospheric
rich elegance, a highly valuable, deeply blue celestial presence. The precious mineral shines with immense clarity, a nocturnal display of ultimate rarity,
polished to a highly reflective,
gorgeous sheen, the most valuable evening we have ever seen. Basking in the glory of these sapphire nights, illuminated by the distant celestial lights,
a deeply colored,
incredibly expensive gemstone, a majestic, beautifully saturated blue zone. The astronomical wealth is prominently displayed, a magnificent, brilliant cut twilight parade, staring into the deep oceanic faceted core, leaving us absolutely desperate for more. Sky glows rich, perfect pitch, deepest blues, just us two. Gliding my callous fingertips across the rosewood neck, keeping the heavy emotional musical tempo perfectly in check. I press the nickel wire deeply into the wooden fingerboard, creating a highly melancholic, undeniably tragic minor chord.
The heavy gauge strings provide a remarkable amount of tension, accessing an entirely different, incredibly soulful dimension. My left hand trembles to produce the necessary thick vibrato, delivering this highly expressive musical manifesto. I push the metallic string aggressively across the steel fret, the most highly emotional physical performance I have given yet. The note bends upwards, stretching the pitch into a terrible cry, a magnificent acoustic representation of a tearful, sad goodbye. The truss rod groans slightly under the immense pulling weight,
a physical reaction to this highly depressive musical state.
The magnetic pickups capture every single microscopic vibration,
translating the physical effort into an auditory revelation. The amplifier translates
the incredibly heavy grief,
offering absolutely zero auditory joyful relief.
The sustain pedal stretches the note into infinity,
a remarkably tragic, highly emotional sonic trinity. Listening to these beautifully weeping frets,
broadcasting
our deepest untold regrets. The guitarist bends the string until it heavily screams, tearing apart the fabric of our musical dreams.
A remarkable display of highly expressive string sorrow,
leaving absolutely no hope for a joyful tomorrow.
The fingerboard absorbs the incredibly salty musical tears,
a phenomenal technique perfected over many years.
I apply the heavy brass bottleneck to my little finger, allowing the incredibly sorrowful sliding notes to heavily linger. The glass glides smoothly over the parallel metal bars, broadcasting my incredible sadness directly up to the stars.
The harmonic overtone scream with the highly piercing wail, a beautiful instrumental, undeniably tragic fairy tale. I pluck the D string with an incredibly heavy aggressive pick, executing a phenomenally complex, emotionally devastating trick. The calluses on my digits are heavily bruised and deeply worn, the physical consequence of playing music so incredibly forlorn. The amplifier tubes burn with a remarkably hot orange heat, while I manipulate the melody right above the reggae beat. The intonation is purposely adjusted to sound slightly sharp, creating a highly dissonant, deeply painful metallic harp. We force the instrument to vocalize our unspoken pain, a highly emotional, undeniably heavy musical rap. The amplifier translates
the incredibly heavy grief,
offering absolutely zero auditory joyful relief.
The sustain pedal stretches the note into infinity,
a remarkably tragic, highly emotional sonic trinity. Listening to these beautifully weeping frets, broadcasting our deepest untold regrets. The guitarist bends the string until it heavily screams, tearing apart the fabric of our musical dreams. A remarkable display of highly expressive string sorrow, leaving absolutely no hope for a joyful tomorrow. The fingerboard absorbs the incredibly salty musical tea, a phenomenal technique perfected over many years. Unplug the cord, silence the board, neck is born, music is born. My brightly plumed feathers are intentionally, permanently clipped, ensuring that my potential for flight is entirely, securely stripped. I am surrounded by incredibly expensive, shiny little trinkets, but my geographical perimeter is completely defined by limits. The enclosure is securely fastened with a heavy diamond padlock. I stare miserably at the remarkably ornate ticking grandfather clock, provided with gourmet seeds upon a tiny, exquisite platinum platter. But my fundamental lack of liberty is the only thing that matters.
I polish the shiny vertical metallic bars until they perfectly gleam, maintaining this highly restrictive, completely luxurious stream. Observing the beautiful captive singing a remarkably sorrowful melody, a magnificent demonstration of highly expensive, tragic acoustic tragedy. I ensure the water dispenser is filled with remarkably pure artisan spring, listening to the incredibly sad notes that the lovely captive sings. The architecture of this prison is undeniably phenomenally stunning, but it prevents any sort of escaping or highly desperate running. Surrounded by an absolute incredible amount of wealth, sacrificing my genuine psychological independent health, denied the basic fundamental right to soar the sky, watching the beautiful free sparrows flutter quickly by, trapped inside this magnificent, heavily gilded cage, enduring a highly suppressed, incredibly silent rage, an ornately constructed, phenomenally expensive prison, where the terrifying reality is finally painfully arisen. Singing beautiful songs of absolute
Luxurious captivity, robbed of every single ounce of natural free activity.
The shiny bars provide a highly deceptive, glamorous trap, erased completely from the giant
geographical map.
I hang a beautiful crystal mirror inside the lavish enclosure, maintaining the wealthy captive's highly photogenic composure, a remarkably selfish desire to possess such an exquisite creature, highlighting every single delicate, highly attractive feature. The purchase price was an astronomically high, ridiculous sum, ensuring that the desired freedom will absolutely never come. Drape a heavy velvet cloth over the top when it gets dark, denying the captive any glimpse of the sprawling public park. I gaze longingly through the incredible
incredibly expensive, intricate lattice work, where the highly depressing, deeply isolating feelings continuously lurk. I desire the terrifying, unpredictable freedom of the open atmosphere, instead of the highly controlled, ridiculously safe environment here. My vocalizing stays ablaze by the wealthy visiting aristocracy, but they fail to recognize this terrible, confining hypocrisy. I would gladly trade this magnificent, shiny aurum perch for a completely dangerous, highly unscripted wild search, surrounded by an absolute, incredible amount of wealth, sacrificing my genuine psychological independent health. Deny the basic fundamental right to soar the sky, watching the beautiful free sparrows flutter quickly by, trapped inside this magnificent, heavily gilded cage, enduring a highly suppressed, incredibly silent rage, an ornately constructed, phenomenally expensive prison, where the terrifying reality has finally, painfully arisen, singing beautiful songs of absolute luxuries, captivity, robbed of every single ounce of natural free activity. The shiny bars provide a highly deceptive, glamorous trap, erased completely from the giant geographical map. Lock the door, fly no more. Beautiful song, something wrong, something wrong, something wrong. My brightly plumed feathers are intentionally, permanently clipped, ensuring that my potential for flight is entirely, securely stripped. I am surrounded by incredibly expensive, shiny little trinkets, but my geographical perimeter is completely defined by limits. The enclosure is securely fastened with a heavy diamond padlock. I stare miserably at the remarkably ornate ticking grandfather clock, provided with gourmet seeds upon a tiny, exquisite platinum platter. But my fundamental lack of liberty is the only thing that matters. I polish the shiny vertical metallic bars until they perfectly gleam, maintaining this highly restricted, completely luxurious dream, observing the beautiful captive singing the remarkably soulful melody. Magnificent. Canvas, mainsail up the wooden mast, preparing the enormous vessel for a journey incredibly vast. The pelagic winds fill the fabric with a highly powerful gust, leaving the safe harbor in a cloud of maritime salty dust. I stand confidently upon the starboard side of the deck, searching the endless blue horizon for a sunken pirate wreck. The albatross glides beautifully alongside our wooden hull, a highly spectacular nautical voyage that is never dull.
Hey! Gripping the giant steering wheel with my calloused hands, navigating the coordinates toward undiscovered foreign lands. The compass points directly toward a highly treacherous reef, but the crew maintains a remarkably steadfast, brave belief. I adjust the rigging and carefully secure the thick rope, sailing forward with an enormous amount of adventurous hope. The maritime charts predict a highly favorable strong gale, providing the perfect momentum for this legendary tale.
Riding the crest of a gigantic rolling swell, ringing the polished brass navigational bell. The buoyancy keeps the heavy galleon afloat, singing a lively shanty upon this mighty boat. Dancing the highly energetic ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank. A bouncing nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty. Swinging joyfully with the pelagic motion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean. A remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation.
The barnacles cling stubbornly to the submerged underbelly, while the chef prepares a highly traditional maritime jelly. I drop the massive iron anchor into the turquoise deep, allowing the exhausted, hard-working sailors to finally sleep. The dolphins breach spectacularly across the starboard bow, a majestic aquatic performance happening right here and now. We swap the wooden deck until the timber perfectly gleams, fulfilling our wildest, most adventurous seafaring dream.
Climbing the rope ladder entirely up to the tall crow's nest, putting my acrobatic maritime abilities to the ultimate test. I peer through the brass telescope to scout the distant shore, discovering a magnificent island entirely unexplored before. The salty spray constantly splashes against my smiling face, navigating the galleon into this beautifully secluded space. We secure the heavy moorings to the wooden harbor dock, arriving perfectly on time according to the captain's clock. Riding the crest of a gigantic rolling swell, ringing the polished brass navigational bell. The buoyancy keeps the heavy galleon afloat, singing a lively shanty upon this mighty boat. Dancing the highly energetic ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank. A bouncing nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty. Swinging joyfully with the pelagic motion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean. A remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation. Navigate the vessel wherever the lantern burns. The aquatic journey provides an absolute thrill, riding the aquatic roller coaster with incredible skill. Pull the line, weather good, feeling fine. Set the sail, catch the gale. Dancing the highly energetic ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank. A bouncy nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty. Swinging joyfully with the pelagic motion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean. A remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation. Drop anchor, empty tanker, journey ends with my friends. Yeah. inside the subterranean, heavily vaulted brick cellar, resting silently beside the remarkably ancient wooden propeller. The distilled corn mash matures inside the heavy oak cask, a highly patient, biologically transformative, lengthy task. The fermentation process slowly alters the chemical composition, a highly respected, deeply historical distilling tradition. The temperature fluctuates slightly with the changing season, extracting the robust flavors for a highly specific reason. The master distiller inspects the heavily charred wooden staves, where the sleeping liquid remarkably quietly behaves. The interior burning creates a highly caramelized, sugary crust, a manufacturing technique that the distillery workers trust. The alcohol slowly breathes through the porous timber grain, a deeply complex, magnificent agricultural domain. We wait patiently for 12 entire uninterrupted years, while the magnificent amber-colored liquor finally appears. The angels take the atmospheric, evaporated share, leaving a highly concentrated, robust essence there, a botanical maturation happening completely in the dark, leaving an incredibly distinctive, flavorful mark. Intoxicated, magnificent rural sermon. The dark amber liquid heavily coats the crystal tumbler, making the intoxicated consumer a terrible mumbler. A deeply smoky, incredibly rich, vanilla scented profile, making the lengthy waiting period incredibly worthwhile. Fermented gracefully inside the traditional charred barrel, singing a beautifully potent agricultural carol. I pull the heavy cork directly from the bottleneck opening, listening to the magnificent syrupy liquid quietly singing. The viscosity is incredibly thick, resembling molasses, as I distribute the vintage liquid into the waiting glasses. The aroma is incredibly potent, featuring a hint of peat, a remarkably satisfying, highly sophisticated adult treat. The initial sip provides a significantly warm, soothing burn, a magnificent reward that we absolutely had to earn. The robust flavor profile aggressively coats my entire palate, striking my sensory perception like a heavy wooden mallet. I detect the subtle notes of toasted toffee and dark leather, a beverage designed explicitly for the coldest winter weather. The distillation apparatus performed its mechanical duty well, creating a highly magnificent, intoxicating amber spell. We swirl a heavy liquid gently against the crystal rim, while the illumination in the tasting room grows heavily dim. The angels take their atmospheric, evaporated share, leaving a highly concentrated, robust essence there, a botanical maturation happening completely in the dark, leaving an incredibly distinctive, flavorful mark. Pouring a heavy glass of this aged bourbon, a deeply intoxicating, magnificent rural sermon. The dark amber liquid heavily coats the crystal tumbler, making the intoxicated consumer a terrible mumbler. A deeply smoky, incredibly rich vanilla vanilla-scented profile, making the lengthy waiting period incredibly worthwhile. Fermented gracefully inside the traditional jarred barrel, singing a beautifully potent agricultural carol. The agricultural carol. The oak infuses the spirit with a highly magnificent grace, a beautiful maturation occurring in this subterranean place. Swallow the heavy vintage and feel the magnificent heat, a beautifully crafted, traditionally distilled world feat. Full carb, tip the spout, rich liquid flowing out. Swirl slow, feel the glow. Oh, pour in a heavy glass of this aged bourbon, a deeply intoxicating, magnificent rural sermon. The dark and the liquid heavily coats the crystal tumbler, making the intoxicated consumer a terrible mumbler. A deeply smoky, incredibly rich, vanilla-scented profile, making the lengthy waiting period incredibly worthwhile. Fermented gracefully inside the traditional charred barrel, singing a beautifully potent agricultural carol. Glass is empty, feel the gravity. Barrel rests past the test. Listening to your incredibly raspy, unpolished the bone, a harsh, abrasive frequency that chills me to the bone. The sound is highly reminiscent of heavily crushed rocks, a remarkably gruff communication that constantly shocks. Your pharynx has endured decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating barren despair. The syllables grind together like a rusty, unoiled gear, the most incredibly coarse serenade I will ever hear.
I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale, a deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with a loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand, a severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. The vocals are incredibly frayed and totally torn, a highly textured sound I was painfully born. Friction dominating every single spoken word, the most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard, communicating entirely with this gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably rough auditory grind, the most intimidating gruff frequency you can find,
sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street.
a highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feed.
The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick.
I order a dark coffee to soothe the terrible scraping ache, the only physical remedy that I am currently able to take. My vocal range is plummeted into the deepest sub-bass tier, instilling the surrounding patrons with a tiny bit of fear. The raspiness has a highly dramatic and to clearly state a remarkably gruff phenomenon that I simply cannot fix. A highly deteriorated, incredibly rough bag of vocal tricks.
There is a strange, highly unconventional charm to the croak, as if your entire existence is obscured by a heavy smoke. I listen to the remarkably textured sound, paper-like speech, a completely unrefined frequency that nobody can teach. The hoarseness conveys a highly authentic lived-in pain, a remarkably unfiltered, entirely unpretentious vocal strain. You whisper a gruff compliment directly into my ear. The most incredibly rough, abrasive sentiment of the year. Their bones are incredibly frayed and totally torn. A highly textured sound that was painfully born. Friction dominating every single spoken word. The most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard. Communicating entirely with this gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably reportatory grind.
The most intimidating gruff frequency you can find,
Sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street. A highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feel. The vocal cords are permanently scarred and sick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick. Across the entire local bar, embrace the terribly unpolished hoarse delivery. A remarkably authentic, highly textured, Pharynx has endured decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating baritone despair. The syllables bind together like a rusty, unoiled gear. The most incredibly coarse serenade I will ever hear.
I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale, a deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with the loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand, a severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. The vocal folds are incredibly frayed and totally torn, a highly textured sound that was painfully born. Friction dominating every single spoken word. The most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard. Communicating entirely with this gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably reportatory grind. The most intimidating gruff frequency you can find, sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street. A highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feat. The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick. I order a dark coffee to soothe the terrible scraping ache, the only physical remedy that I am currently able to take. My vocal range is plummeted into the deepest sub-bass tier, instilling the surrounding patrons with a tiny bit of fear. The raspiness has a dramatic, intimidating weight to every single line dating that constantly shocks. Your pharynx has enjoyed decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating baritone despair. The syllables grind together like a rusty
manipulating the frequencies of a highly distorted. I turn the rotary knobs to adjust the equalization, creating a highly deceptive auditory hallucination. The faders slide upwards to introduce the phantom track, a splice section of tape that we are playing completely back. I push the parameter of the reverb unit to the extreme, constructing an entirely artificial sonic dream.
I patch the cables directly into the analog synthesizer, acting as the ultimate deceptive studio supervisor. The snare drum is processed through a heavy phase shifter, transforming the percussion into a psychedelic drifter. We alter the pitch to create a highly disorienting effect, a sonic landscape that the listener would never expect. I mute the vocal channel to highlight the heavy bass line, a manipulative trick of our incredibly clever design. The dials on the processing rack, there is no authentic original track. Splicing the magnetic ribbon with a blade, listening to the artificial world we made. Trapped inside these dub illusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing broom. The oscillation frequency rapidly begins to multiply, a highly synthetic trick that we proudly apply. I reverse the cymbal, crash the simulator, backward fall, bouncing the artificial sound waves off a non-existent wall.
The engineering booth is filled with tangled black wires, fueling these incredibly deceptive auditory fires. We compress the dynamic range until the signal is flat, a highly technical achievement that we marvel at.
The master tape degrades slightly with every single pass,
creating a sound as fragile as spun fiberglass. I isolate the hi-hat and bathe it in a chorus pedal, treating the audio signal like a malleable liquid metal. We manufacture a space that defies all physical laws, adding intentional distortion to cover up the flaws. The final mix down is a masterpiece of total deception, a profoundly manipulative synthetic reception. Tweaking the dials on the processing rack, there is no authentic original track. Splicing the magnetic ribbon with a blade, listening to the artificial world we made. Trapped inside these dub delusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing broom. Do not trust the sounds that you currently hear. The reality of this recording is nowhere near a phantom projection from the stereo speakers. We are the ultimate auditory seekers. New track, bring it back, add delay, fade away, pan left, audio theft. Trapped inside these dub delusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic record a little clearer. The vibrant carmine pigment has noticeably begun to wane, leaving an uneven, highly unattractive, waxy stain.
I dab my mouth with a remarkably
Thin textured tissue, attempting to resolve this highly frustrating vanity issue. The glamorous crimson outline is severely blurred and messy, making my facial presentation look incredibly unimpressive.
I noticed the rosy smudge
Transfer directly onto my collar, a highly persistent residue that no amount of soap will alter. The waxy substance clings stubbornly to the woven fabric, a visible consequence of an interaction that was highly tragic. The glossy finish you applied earlier has entirely disappeared, exactly as my highly observant, cynical mind had feared. The cosmetic layer failed to withstand the evening's friction, exposing the underlying truth beneath the glamorous fiction. Oh, the rouge loses its highly saturated initial brightness, replaced by an overwhelming, remarkably dull whiteness, wiping the color grease directly off the weary pout. The artificial confidence has completely run out, wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive, superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what our artificial presentation lacks. A smudge reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise that was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peeled away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin.
The matte foundation begins to heavily flake and separate
as the late night hours continue to drastically escalate. I hand you a moistened towelette to cleanse your cheek. Your cosmetic barrier is looking incredibly, terribly weak. The rosy tint is heavily compromised by the perspiration, a highly unflattering, physically messy manifestation. You reapply the coloring, but the contour line is crooked, the most unkempt and disheveled that you have ever looked. I twist the plastic tube to elevate the colored wax cylinder, feeling like a highly exhausted and glamorous pretender. The shade is significantly lighter than the original application, a deeply disappointing, highly frustrating visual revelation. My lip liner is entirely erased from the outer boundary. I am trapped completely inside this superficial laundry. The glamorous aesthetic has been entirely compromised, exactly as the harsh bathroom fluorescent lights surmise. The rouge loses its highly saturated initial brightness, replaced by an overwhelming, remarkably dull whiteness, wiping the color grease directly off the weary pout. The artificial confidence has completely run out, wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive, superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what our artificial presentation lacks. A smudge reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise that was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peels away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin. honest reality of the day. The artificial coloring provides zero protection, just a highly superficial, waxy deflection. Twist up, apply gloss, smear down, total loss. Wipe clean, face seen. Wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive, superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what our artificial presentation lacks. A smudge reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise that was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peels away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin. Close the case, wash the face, color gone, moving on. Sitting behind a massive 72-channel mixing board, manipulating the frequencies of a highly distorted. I turn the rotary knobs to adjust the equalization, creating a highly deceptive auditory hallucination. The faders slide upwards to introduce the phantom track, a splice section of tape that we are playing completely back. I push the parameter of the reverb unit to the extreme, constructing an entirely artificial sonic dream.
I patch the cables directly into the analog synthesizer, acting as the ultimate deceptive studio
supervisor.
The snare drum is processed through a heavy phase shifter,
transforming the percussion into a psychedelic drifter.
We alter the pitch to create a highly disorienting effect,
a sonic landscape that the listener would never expect.
I mute the vocal channel to highlight the heavy bass line,
the manipulative trick of our incredibly clever design. Tweaking the dials on the processing rack, there is no authentic original track. Splicing the magnetic ribbon with a blade, listening to the artificial world we made. Trapped inside these dub delusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen. Tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing broom.
The oscillation frequency rapidly begins to multiply, a highly synthetic trick that we proudly apply. I reverse the cymbal crash to simulate a backward fall, bouncing the artificial sound waves off a non-existent wall. The engineering booth is filled with tangled black wires, fueling these incredibly deceptive auditory fires. We compress the dynamic range until the signal is flat, a highly technical achievement that we marvel at. The master tape degrades slightly with every single pass, creating a sound as fragile as spun fiberglass. I isolate the hi-hat and bathe it in a chorus pedal, treating the audio signal like a malleable liquid metal. We manufacture a space that defies all physical laws, adding intentional distortion to cover up the flaws. The final mix down is a masterpiece
masterpiece of total deception, a profoundly manipulative synthetic reception. Tweaking the dials on the processing rack, there is no authentic original track. Splicing the magnetic ribbon with a blade, listening to the artificial world we made. Trapped inside these dub delusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen. Tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing broom. From the mixing broom. Do not trust the sounds that you currently hear. The reality of this recording is nowhere near a phantom projection from the stereo speakers. We are the ultimate auditory seekers. Mute track, bring it back. Add delay, fade away. Pan left, audio theft. Oh, yeah. Trapped inside these dub delusions, creating massive auditory confusion. Studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen. Tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. Phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing broom. Cut the tape, false escape. Power down, leave the sound. Entering the lavishly decorated, incredibly opulent parlor, escaping entirely from the drab, monochromatic outdoor squalor. The heavy drapery blocking the windows is a deep burgundy, creating an atmosphere of highly exclusive aesthetic urgency. I sink deeply into the incredibly plush, tufted upholstery, surrounded by an astonishing collection of scarlet tapestry. The illumination is provided by a rosy, flattering chandelier, making every single patron look undeniably magnificent here.
My shoes sink entirely into the remarkably thick ruby carpet, the most extravagantly designed interior
on the entire market.
A waitress balances a silver tray of brightly colored grenadine, the most highly saturated visual environment I've ever seen. I slide perfectly into the incredibly private circular leather booth, embracing this highly manufactured, deeply colorful truth. The wallpaper features a velvety dark cherry damask pattern, a profoundly luxurious sanctuary comparable to the rings of Saturn, immersed entirely in this cardinal hue. A completely flushed, magnificent view, basking in the profoundly rosy ambient glow. The most extravagant aesthetic we will ever know. Relaxing inside this magnificent crimson lounge, where the wealthy socialites consistently scrounge. Everything is painted a spectacular blood red, a Mahogany tables are polished to a highly reflective shine, while the patrons heavily consume their expensive vintage wine. I observe the incredibly rich ruby-tinted stained glass, watching the beautifully dressed, sophisticated clientele pass. The ambient temperature is remarkably warm and inviting, perfectly complementing the deeply atmospheric ruby lighting. A monochromatic masterpiece of absolute interior luxury, a phenomenally expensive, highly curated sanctuary. My fingernails perfectly match the velvet cushions of the chair, a highly coordinated, deeply meticulous aesthetic affair. The bartender wipes the counter with a scarlet-colored rag, while a patron retrieves a lipstick from her expensive bag. We are utterly enveloped by this warm, undeniably rich tone, feeling like royalty sitting directly upon a comfortable throne. The aesthetic consistency is remarkably strict and severe. Absolutely no contrasting colors are ever permitted here. Immersed entirely in this cardinal hue, completely flushed, magnificent view, basking in the profoundly rosy ambient glow. The most extravagant aesthetic we will ever know. Relaxing inside this magnificent crimson lounge, where the wealthy socialites consistently scrounge. Everything is painted a spectacular blood red, a highly luxurious canopy suspended overhead. A deeply saturated, incredibly opulent hideaway, where the glamorous residents permanently stay, drowning in the majestic, regal scarlet pigment. A beautifully crafted interior design figment. To the profoundly plush, saturated environment, the ultimate aesthetic form of luxurious retirement. Red velvet, deep sink, ruby glass, fancy drink, scarlet glow, moving slow. Relaxing inside magnificent crimson lounge, where the wealthy socialites consistently scrounge. Spectacular blood red, a highly luxurious canopy suspended overhead. A deeply saturated, incredibly opulent hideaway, where the glamorous residents permanently stay, drowning in the majestic, regal scarlet pigment. A beautifully crafted interior design figment. Lights dimming down, rich side of town. Stay inside, nowhere to hide. My brightly plumed feathers are intentionally, permanently clipped, ensuring that my potential for flight is entirely, securely stripped. I am surrounded by incredibly expensive, shiny little trinkets, but my geographical perimeter is completely defined by limits. The enclosure is securely fastened with a heavy diamond padlock.
I stare miserably at the remarkably ornate ticking grandfather clock,
provided with gourmet seeds
upon a tiny, exquisite platinum platter. But my fundamental lack of liberty is the only thing that matters.
I polish the shiny vertical metallic bars until they perfectly gleam, maintaining this highly restrictive, completely luxurious dream. Observing the beautiful captive singing a remarkably sorrowful melody, a magnificent demonstration of highly expensive tragic acoustic tragedy.
I ensure the water dispenser is filled with remarkably pure artisan spring, listening to the incredibly sad notes that the lovely captive sings. The architecture of this prison is undeniably phenomenally stunning,
but it prevents any sort of escaping
or highly desperate running. Surrounded by an absolute incredible amount of wealth, sacrificing my genuine psychological independent health, denied the basic fundamental right to soar the sky, watching the beautiful free sparrows flutter quickly by, trapped inside this magnificent, heavily gilded cage, enduring a highly suppressed, incredibly silent rage. An ornately constructed, phenomenally expensive prison where the terrifying reality is finally painfully arisen, singing beautiful songs of absolute luxurious captivity, robbed of every single ounce of natural free activity. The shiny bars provide a highly deceptive, glamorous trap, erased completely from the giant geographical map.
I hang a beautiful crystal mirror inside the lavish enclosure, maintaining a wealthy captive's highly photogenic composure, a remarkably selfish desire to possess such an exquisite creature, highlighting every single delicate, highly attractive feature. Purchase price was an astronomically high, ridiculous sum, ensuring that the desired freedom will absolutely never come. I drape a heavy velvet cloth over the top when it gets dark, denying the captive any glimpse of the sprawling public park. I gaze longingly through the incredibly expensive, intricate lattice work, where the highly depressing, deeply isolating feelings continuously lurk. I desire the terrifying, unpredictable freedom of the open atmosphere, instead of the highly controlled, ridiculously safe environment here. My vocalizations are praised by the wealthy, visiting aristocracy, but they fail to recognize this terrible, confining hypocrisy. I will gladly trade this magnificent, shiny aurum perch for a completely dangerous, highly unscripted, wild search, surrounded by an absolute incredible amount of wealth, sacrificing my genuine psychological independent health, denied the basic fundamental right to soar the sky, watching the beautiful free sparrows flutter quickly by, trapped inside this magnificent, heavily gilded cage, enduring a highly suppressed, incredibly silent rage. An ornately constructed, phenomenally expensive prison where the terrifying reality is finally painfully arisen, singing beautiful songs of absolute luxurious captivity, robbed of every single ounce of natural free activity. The shiny bars provide a highly deceptive, glamorous trap, erased completely from the giant geographical map. Beautifully constructed, miserable ascendance. The shiny trap offers absolute safety, but removes the soul a devastatingly high, incredibly painful psychological toll. A turnkey, not free. Shiner bar, look far, clipped wing must sing, trapped inside this magnificent, heavily gilded cage, enduring a highly suppressed, incredibly silent rage. An ornately constructed, phenomenally expensive prison where the terrifying reality is finally painfully arisen, singing beautiful songs of absolute luxurious captivity, robbed of every single ounce of natural free activity. The shiny bars provide a highly deceptive, glamorous trap, erased completely from the giant
beautiful song, something wrong. Hoisting the massive canvas mainsail up the wooden mast, preparing the enormous vessel for a journey incredibly vast. The pelagic winds fill the fabric with a highly powerful gust, leaving the safe harbor in a cloud of maritime salty dust. Upon the starboard side of the deck, searching the endless blue horizon for a sunken pirate wreck. The albatross glides beautifully alongside our wooden hull, a highly spectacular nautical voyage that is never dull.
Gripping the giant steering wheel with my calloused hands, navigating the coordinates toward undiscovered foreign lands. The compass points directly toward a highly treacherous reef, but the crew maintains a remarkably steadfast, brave belief. I adjust the rigging and carefully secure the thick rope, sailing forward with an enormous amount of adventurous hope. The maritime charts predict a highly favorable strong gale, providing the perfect momentum for this legendary tale. Riding the crest of a gigantic rolling swell, ringing the polished brass navigational bell. The buoyancy keeps the heavy galleon afloat, singing a lively shanty upon this mighty boat. Dancing the highly energetic ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank, a bouncy nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty, swinging joyfully with a pelagic motion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean, a remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation. The barnacles cling stubbornly to the submerged underbelly, while the chef prepares a highly traditional maritime jelly. I drop the massive iron anchor into the turquoise deep, allowing the exhausted, hard-working sailors to finally sleep. The dolphins breathe spectacularly across the starboard bow, a majestic aquatic performance happening right here and now. We swap the wooden deck until the timber perfectly gleams, fulfilling our wildest, most adventurous seafaring dreams.
Climbing the rope ladder entirely up to the tall crow's nest, putting my acrobatic maritime abilities to the ultimate test. I peer through the brass telescope to scout the distant shore, discovering a magnificent island entirely unexplored before. The salty spray constantly splashes against my smiling face, navigating the galleon into this beautifully secluded space. We secure the heavy moorings to the wooden harbor dock, arriving perfectly on time according to the captain's clock. Riding the crest of a gigantic rolling swell, ringing the polished brass navigational bell. The buoyancy keeps the heavy galleon afloat, singing a lively shanty upon this mighty boat. Dancing the highly energetic ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank, a bouncy nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty, swinging joyfully with a pelagic motion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean, a remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation.